Winston Churchill said, "America and England are two countries separated by a common language." I think we have a little bit of that separation going on between America and Australia, too. I mean, just today I was at an English pub getting some lunch, and I had a choice between watching hockey, a football rerun, or some cricket. Well, the cricket match is one of the big matches of the year. It's called the Ashes. They were playing it in Australia. So I happen to know more about cricket than 99% of Americans. That's because I've just started learning it, and that's because I know one thing only about cricket. And I've known it for a couple of years. I still haven't been able to get my mind around it yet. I haven't been able to grok this yet. In cricket, it looks kind of like baseball, right? They bowl at you, they pitch the ball to you, you have this paddle, you try to bat it out there and get a run or two. In cricket, you can hit the ball behind you and the ball is still in play. Now, you now know 99% more about cricket than 99% of all Americans. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on down there we don't understand. Australian rules, football, kangaroos. But if you meet somebody from Australia, they're usually a, hail fellow, well met kind of person. Everybody seems very cheerful down there. If you go down there, people who visit there say, that's a fantastic place. Well, maybe the Australians have a little bit to learn from us as well as what we have to learn about them. And after watching this video, I think the first thing that Australians have to learn from America, from this channel, is black mob violence.
A gang of violent African teenagers has run wild along the St Kilda foreshore, fighting each other and bashing and robbing beachgoers. Witnesses say there were at least 200 teens, including young women, causing trouble.
On St Kilda's busy foreshore, the group of young women square up to each other before fists and feet fly in every direction. It was a disgraceful level of violence which took place in front of dozens of beachgoers. It was a worrying indication of what was to come.
Unfortunately, last night we've had a large number of youth attend of African appearance who have engaged in antisocial behaviour. They've committed crimes. They've been involved in a number of assaults on the foreshore of St Kilda.
Witnesses estimate the number of African teenagers causing trouble along the foreshore was close to 200. Alex Carter's 16-year-old son was one of the victims. He and a mate were punched repeatedly and robbed.
They'd taken the other youngsters, his phone and his watch, and they even took his shirt. So left them sort of standing half nude in the street.
Alex's son was too frightened to speak about the ordeal, but has told his dad the offenders knew exactly what they were doing.
These guys are so clever the way they do it that it looks like a couple of teenagers just sort of having a bit of fun. So they're absolute professionals.
A number of witnesses dining in the area say police struggled to cope with the huge volume of angry teens.
The police officers handled it as best as they could. I think they were really outnumbered and they struggled to get a hold on it.
Later in the evening, there was a huge brawl at the McDonald's involving 60 teenagers of African appearance. Chairs were thrown and a window smashed. Police are still unsure as to how many victims they're dealing with and are asking anyone who was targeted by this violent group last night to come forward. They also want the offenders to make themselves known to detectives.
Their behaviour was just totally unacceptable, and I'd call on them to come forward, hand themselves in before we track them down.
Michael Scanlon, 7 News.
So there were 200 fellas in Australia of African appearance just going down the beach, beating the hell out of white kids, willy-nilly. Nobody in Australia has the slightest idea what the hell is going on, even though we've done a few stories here about that. I'll see if I can track them down and put them on my Australian playlist. But I recently heard an explanation for this black on white hostility in the U.S., and maybe this could be of some help to our brothers and sisters in Australia when they're trying to figure out what is up with 200 teenagers of African appearance rampaging through the beaches, beating the hell out of white kids.
No, black people can't be racist. Racism is power-based. Black racism is name-calling. That's it. Outside of name-calling, show me some type of black racism. See, people try to compare name calling to a system that will gentrify you, mass incarcerate you, murder you, medically incarcerate you, and there's no comparison. It's a false equivalency.
I was having a conversation with somebody. I told them that black people can't be racist because 9 times out of 10, if a black person does hate a white person, it's based off what white supremacy has done to black people.
And if a black person hates a white person, there's a system that's going to protect that white person anyway. Because again, black racism and white racism, two different things. White racism is okay, you can't live in that neighborhood. White racism is you can't go to this neighborhood, you can't get that job, you're going to go to jail with all the other people who look like you. Black racism is, hey, this black guy called me a cracker at Starbucks. All right? It's a false equivalency.
I don't think they ever had slavery in Australia, did they? I guess I'll put that on my list of things I also need to learn about Australia. As long as the Australians learn one thing from this channel, maybe the most important thing of all when dealing with teenagers of African appearance. Hey mates, don't make the black kids angry.